Good day, Agri-learners! Welcome to another 5 set of test drills sa subject ng crop science. So without further ado, let's start off. Modified stem that grows horizontally above the soil surface, exemplified by your grasses. Do we call that as tubers, corms, rhizomes, or stolon? So these are modified stem that grows horizontally. So siya ay pahalang. Ang pagtubo niya, saan? Sa ibabaw ng lupa. Anong example? Grasses. So ang tawag sa modified stem na yan ay stolon. Okay? Now, una-una, question, what are modified stems? So a modified stem is a stem with additional or different roles. O ano ba kasi ang primary function of a stem? To support the plant, to transport water and nutrients and sugars between the roots and the leaves, and to hold your leaves up to the sunlight para may photosynthesis. However, may mga certain plant species na yung stem niya may different roles, o may different, so may bago na role, or may additional na role. So katulad ng ating stolon. So ang stolon, bukod sa nagfa-function siya as anchoring the plant and supporting and transporting water and nutrients, it also functions as for reproduction purposes. So ang mga stem na to, they grow horizontally above the soil surface. Okay? They are also called runners. Tapos kapag nag-grow sila horizontally, nag-iiwan sila sa bawat nodes nila ng roots, tapos yung roots na yon ay nagiging new plants. Okay? So the nodes develop roots and shoots na nagiging bagong halaman. So yung additional na function ng stem na to is for reproduction. So anong common example ng stolon? Yung mga grasses natin. Kaya ang mga grasses, mabilis tumubo yan because they are runners. They are running horizontally on the ground, creating duplicate of themselves. Another example of stolon is your strawberry. Okay? So they are runners, they grow horizontally on the ground para magpatubo ng kanilang lahi. So how about the other choices kanina? Now, let's talk about corms, bulbs, tubers, and rhizomes. Oh, ito ay mga underground modified stem. Ang stolon natin kanina ay stem na makikita natin above the ground. Pero itong mga to, they are underground stem. So they are really modified kung iisipin natin. Kasi typically, ang stem mo ay nasa taas ng soil. Pero itong mga to, nasa ilalim sila. So ano-ano kaya? For example, unahin natin yung ating tubers. Now, tubers, they are stems, they are thickened, fleshy, underground stem at ang pinaka-function nila is to store nutrients, particularly starch. Kaya tulad ng yung patatas. 'Di ba? Kaya ang patatas kapag binuksan mo 'yan, napakadami niyang starch stored inside. Kaya naman ang patatas, mataas ang carbohydrates niyan. Okay? Now, itong mga stem din na to, itong mga tubers na to, may mga eyes sila. Sa bawat eyes dyan, so may eyes yan, sa bawat eyes dyan tumutubo yung panibagong mga buds or let's say, dyan sila nagpapatubo ng bagong lahi nila or bagong halaman. So that's a tuber. Oh, how about corms? So ang corms ay mukha siyang bulb. So di-discuss ko na rin ang bulb dito. So these are also modified stems. So they are short and vertical. Okay? Katulad ng ang tuber medyo irregular yung shape niyan. Pero ang corm may pagka-bulb shape yan and it is vertical. Okay? Ang pagkakaiba lang ng corm sa bulb is ang corm, solid ang structure niyan. Kumbaga, kapag hinati mo yan sa gitna, wala kang makikitang layer. Ang bulbs, may layer yan. Tulad ng sibuyas. Diba? Ang sibuyas, kapag hinati mo sa gitna, pwede mo siyang himay-himayin into different layers. Ang corms, hindi po. Okay? Ano example ng corms? Yung ating gladiolus and crocus. These are the common examples of our corms. The next one would be your rhizomes. O rhizomes naman, kung ang corm ay short, kung ang corm at bulb ay growing short vertically, ang rhizomes naman, para silang stolon. They are growing horizontally, however, they are underground stems as well. So hindi naman ganun kalalim. Actually, they grow close to the soil surface. So, taas sa taas, medyo malapit-lapit na sa taas ng lupa. But they do grow horizontally, kaya they spread really, really fast. So ano example ng ating rhizomes? We have ginger, turmeric, and bamboo. So ang rhizomes natin, again, they grow horizontally below the soil, and the new shoots and roots sprout from the nodes along the rhizomes. So nagpapatubo siya ng mga bagong lahi niya dyan, and then it is spreading out horizontally, kaya mabilis rin makakolonize ng lupa ang isang rhizome. Next question. Which is not a requirement for a successful graftage? So we're looking at something that is not a requirement. Hindi kailangan. At least sa success daw ng iyong grafting practice. So is it letter A, compatibility of stock and scion? Letter B, fertility of your soil. Letter C, favorable environment. Or letter D, union of the cambium layer. So ang tamang sagot dyan is letter B. Okay? Fertility of the soil is not a requirement para maging successful ang yung graftage. Pero unang-una sa lahat, ano ba kasi ang grafting or graftage? So ang grafting or graftage is a technique kung saan yung tissue ng isang halaman, okay, so we term that as scion, ay ididikit or it will be smooshed, okay, or inserted into another plant. We call that as the rootstock or stock. Para yung two sets of this plant will merge yung kanilang vascular tissues together, and they will grow as one together. So typically, this method is used to propagate plants, especially kapag masyadong matagal yung normal way of reproducing the plant. So mostly ginagawa to sa mga fruit trees, and nakakabawas daw siya ng around 3 years para mapatubo yung fruit trees mo. So kapag, for example, mayroon kang citrus, kung itatanim mo siya traditionally, which is magsisimula sa seed, and then uusbong, and then magiging puno, and then mamumunga, matagal yon. Pag greenup mo siya, nilagay mo yung citrus mo sa another citrus variety, let's say, mas mapapabilis yung pagbunga ng bagong citrus plant mo. Okay. Now, what are the key requirements for a successful graftage? Well, unang-una, dapat compatible yung iyong stock and scion. O ano ulit yung stock? Ano ulit yung stock? Stock kung saan natin, scion is yung tissue ng halaman, okay, na ididikit natin sa stock, sa rootstock. So yung rootstock, ito yung halaman na nakakonect sa soil. Okay? Yung scion, yan yung foreign na halaman na ididikit natin sa stock. So dapat daw compatible yung ating stock at saka scion. So compatibility ensures na itong dalawang halaman na to will successfully grow together. So kaya mostly ang ginagraph natin is our plants with plants na similar ang species pero different varieties. Although right now we are experimenting on plants with a different genus and species as well na they can be grafted together. Dito lang nung nagse-search ako, nakakita ako ng isang halaman na ang tawag ay pomato, 'di ba? Pangalawang requirement for a successful graftage is dapat mayroon kang favorable environment. So itong favorable environment na to will ensure that the graft will be successful. Okay? Factors like temperature, humidity, and yung environment mo wala masyadong sakit will ensure na mas mabilis yung pag-heal kapag inismush mo yung dalawang halaman na yun together. And it would now be a determinant of the success of your grafting technique. Yung pangatlo, na key requirement para maging successful yung graftage mo is dapat align yung kanilang cambium layer. Yung cambium layer na yan, this is the layer that contains your xylem and your phloem, which is very important now in the transport of sugar and water. So dapat, kumbaga parang wire yan eh. Dapat yung scion at saka yung rootstock, kapag pinagdikit mo sila, aligned din yung kanilang cambium layer para ma-ensure na at some point, para ma-ensure yung success na yung grafting. Kasi kapag masyadong disalign yung cambium layer nila, ay hindi po yan magfa-facilitate ng maayos na flow ng water and minerals. So these are the 3 requirements for a successful graftage. And why is fertility not a requirement for a successful graftage? While soil fertility is very important sa overall health ng yung halaman during grafting, hindi siya directly required para maging successful yung grafting process mo kasi soil fertility do not affect, okay? It does not affect the initial success of your graft. Okay? Malitong spelling na to. Graft, dapat yan. Next question. The female flower of a corn is popularly called as what? So yung female na bahagi ng iyong corn is called, common name, it's called your ear. Okay? So yung ear is basically the one na kinakain nyo. Diba? So yung cob and the kernels na nilalaga natin para kainin, yan yung ear ng ating corn. And this is the female reproductive part of your corn. Now, the hair is called your silk. Okay? Now, yung hair na yan, it acts as the connection kapag mayroon kang pollen. So, yung tassel, yan yung male reproductive parts. Yung nagpuproduce yan ng pollen. Tapos, through pollination, mapupunta yung pollen na yan doon sa silk. Doon sa hair ng corn, and bawat silk na yan ay nakakonect sa isa-isa mong mga kernel. Okay? So, nakakonect doon sa mga kernel yung hair na yan. Kaya naman, kapag nagkakaroon ng successful pollination, ay yung mga kernels na yan ay tumataba. Okay? Nagkakaroon sila ng starchy structure, and yun yung paborito nating kainin sa mais. Next question. Which crop grows best in upland condition? Yam, gabi, rice, or kangkong? So in order for us to answer this, we need to understand ano ba yung difference between upland and lowland soil conditions. So sa upland soil conditions, mostly yan ay mga soil na nasa higher elevation of land. They are well-drained soils. So if they are well-drained, kukunti lang yung tubig nila, and yung mga crops na itinatanim dito prefer drier conditions. Kasi nga, well-drained and less water availability, so it just makes sense na yung crops na tinatanim dito should be in drier conditions. For example, yung corn, cassava, and sweet potatoes. How about lowland? Lowland conditions naman, lower elevation soils yung mga yan, so nasa baba. They are poorly drained soils, so hindi sila basta-basta nawawalan ng tubig, kaya they have abundant water supply. So ang mga halaman na itinatanim dito, they thrive very well in wet or waterlogged conditions or in soil conditions na matubig. So isa-isahin natin. Unahin natin yung ating kangkong. O kangkong, ang gusto niya, tubig, di ba? Matubig. So diyan ay lowland condition. Ang hinahanap natin is the crop that grows best in upland condition. So kangkong is not the correct answer. O how about rice? Again, rice. Sa flooded area natin tinatanim yan. So lowland condition ang gusto niyan. So hindi rin ito yung tamang sagot. O, gabi naman. Gabi mahilig rin sa tubig. Sa matubig rin na soil yan itinatanim. So it is also a lowland crop. O, how about your yam? Yan. Ang yam mo is very well suited into drier soil conditions, in upland soil conditions kung saan hindi masyadong marami ang tubig. So ang tamang sagot is letter A, yam. Okay. Next, or last question, suppose. Which among the plant has a perfect type of flower? Alin kaya dyan ang perfecto daw, ang bulaklak? Corn, squash, coconut, or peanut? Tamang sagot ay peanut. Okay? Now, bakit peanut? We need to differentiate perfect versus imperfect flower. So, pag sinabi mong ang flower mo ay perfect, sa isang flower na yon, sa isang floral structure na yon, mayroon ka ng female and male reproductive organ. So, dito, letter A. So, dito, mayroon kang anthers, which is your, meron kang stamen, I mean. So, this one is your stamen, which is your male reproductive organ. And meron ka ng pistil, which is your female reproductive organ in one flower. Ang imperfect flower, magkahiwalay. So may mga bulaklak na babae and may mga bulaklak na lalaki. So you have now either male or female reproductive organs in one flower, but never both in one flower. So yun yung imperfect flower. Magkahiwalay ang babae at lalaki. So tignan natin yung mga examples na nasa choices kanina. O ito yung iyong corn. Kung mapapansin natin, ang corn mayroon siyang hiwalay na male flower and mayroon siyang hiwalay na female flower. So that is an imperfect flower. Okay. Remember, ang hinahanap natin sa tanong is yung perfect type of flower. Ang squash, ganun din. Mayroon kang bulaklak na male and mayroon ka namang bulaklak na female. So, via cross-pollination, saka lang sila makakapag-produce ng fruit. Sa coconut, ganun din po. Mayroon kang male flower, mayroon kang male floral structure sa coconut mo, and mayroon kang female floral structure as well. Ang peanut, iisa lang yan sa isang bulaklak. So, kumari, itong peanut mo na to, mayroon ka ng ovary sa isang bulaklak, and mayroon ka ng 9 na stamen. So, this is a perfect flower. Kaya naman, peanut ang tamang sagot.